What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Revival. My name is JJ, and today we're talking Breath of Fire 2. I have some good and some bad things to say about this game. Well, not necessarily bad, just things I wasn't expecting that are kind of make it a little bit disjointed in the storytelling department. Unfortunately, I don't have a physical copy of the game. I only have the first, third, fourth, and fifth ones, but I have never owned the second one as a physical disc. Rented it many times, but this time I played it on my Wii U, and I loved it. So without any more rambling, why don't we go ahead and get into the review of Breath of Fire 2. The Breath of Fire series has always been one that I've loved to play, but for some reason had a hard time finishing. Given that there's heavy grinding involved, game lengths that can extend longer than I normally prefer, and in some cases a plot that feels a bit disjointed, it's hard to pinpoint exactly why I could never seem to play these games to completion. I finally just finished the first Breath of Fire last year, and really enjoyed taking that trip back in time to my Blockbuster rental days. I know I never got very far when I initially played it so many years ago, but I definitely remembered a few of the characters, which is what really got me excited to dive back in. I've always had a soft spot for a series with a diverse cast, and so seeing all these colorful characters representing different races and backgrounds, I couldn't wait to see what the next game in the series had to offer when playing from start to finish. The story of Breath of Fire 2 opens up with the main character, Ryu, as a young child heading to a nearby cave that has been guarded by a massive dragon for as long as he can remember. A few scenes play out, and when Ryu returns to the village, he's unable to find his family, nor does anyone recall him, his father, and his sister ever living there. The nearby church takes him in, treating him as an orphan, along with another boy named Bo. Ryu and Bo grow up together, and the game officially begins with the two of them setting off on their own. Throughout the adventure, Ryu meets several other characters: Nina, the winged princess of Windia, Jean, a swashbuckling frog, and Kat, a staff-wielding catwoman, just to name a few. Herein lies my problem with the storytelling in Breath of Fire 2. The individual character arcs are really solid. They're great. The problem is that you're essentially just going with Ryu and his friends and helping out each one of these other characters in their own little subplots without it really tying very much, if at all, to the main overall plot of the game. I honestly had almost completely forgotten about Ryu and the Dragon Clan until the very end of the game when they finally go into it. Not that any of the individual story elements themselves were bad per se, it was more that it just felt a bit disjointed, and I felt like I was instead playing a bunch of smaller adventures in this one game world that didn't really connect to one another in any meaningful way. I think I would have liked to see just a little bit more of the main plot sprinkled here and there throughout the adventure, instead of risking forgetting about the opening sequence of the game until the very end. Now, that's definitely not to say the overall story is bad by any means. I just feel it's important to set the right expectations going in. You're essentially getting a small collection of stories as opposed to one grand tale. Breath of Fire 2's gameplay is solid. It's your standard SNES era turn-based combat, mixed with exploration and some light puzzle solving. It really felt good to get back into that old school style again, considering I've been playing a lot of newer games lately. Each character plays vastly different from the others when fighting, which added a wonderful layer of strategy to how you set up your party. You can also fuse characters with shamans that you meet throughout the adventure, who can grant them special abilities and in some cases even change their appearance. Each character also has their own unique ability to help traverse the overworld, from hunting and fishing to transformation and breaking rocks. The wildly diverse cast brings a whole slew of different ways to travel, make money, and solve puzzles. When it comes to the visuals, I'm not ashamed to say that I am absolutely in love with the aesthetics of Breath of Fire 2. It's bright, colorful, and from the characters themselves down to the NPCs, there's so much variety and beautiful pixel art to appreciate. Battle animations pack a punch, and the cutscenes and action sequences really show off what the Super Nintendo is capable of. It's not unreasonable to say that this game was a total feast for the eyes, especially if you're someone like me who loves that old school sprite work. The music in Breath of Fire 2 is as colorful as the visuals. While not quite on the same level as other RPGs of the time like Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger, the soundtrack still absolutely does this game justice. Full of fanfare, lighthearted melodies, and fast-paced battle music, its arrangement fits right in with the game's overall theme of diversity. As far as the sound itself, I'll be honest, it was adequate, but nothing as far as the sound effects or sound quality really stood out as anything more than just being noticeable simply because whatever you were doing needed to have a sound. So overall, I really enjoyed my time with this game. I thought Breath of Fire 2 was a wonderful way for me to revisit the classic SNES RPGs that I used to love so much back then, and the fact that I actually finished it this time just made me like it that much more. I remember really loving the characters, as I mentioned, as a kid, and so I remembered those when I was in there, but the fact that the story was so disjointed was a little bit like I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't bad, but it was, I just wish I would have known it going in, because then I wouldn't have been sitting there asking these questions the whole time, like, what about, you know, the main story, you know, what's going on with that? There were times when I was like, what am I doing again? So, but just know that going in, but if you got a portable device to play it on, that's a great way to do it, because you can just lay on the couch, because there was a lot of grinding that I had to do. You might be way better than me at it and get through without having to do that, but I certainly had to, which I didn't mind so much, because I just threw on The Office and just played laying on the couch, and it was great. So definitely, if you have the opportunity, I would say give Breath of Fire 2 a shot. I think it's a great representation of what the series has to offer, and I'm really looking forward to finally finishing 3 and 4, and eventually playing 5 as well. But yeah, other than that, let me know what you guys think. I'm kind of stuck as to what to review next. There's a bunch that I want to, but I haven't made a solid decision. So, suggestions? Anybody? Other than that, thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know what you think about Breath of Fire 2. I encourage anybody who's interested in those older RPGs to give it a shot. And if you have played it before and you liked it or disliked it, give it another chance. You know, see if your opinions change. Because I always find that interesting too, to see how time has kind of changed how we feel about things we loved or didn't love when we were younger. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and as always, keep on gaming.